Hello from rainy London to all the people reading and watching the Cyprus Mail. Well, today I'm going to make one of my favourite cakes. It's a lemon poppy seed cake, and it's something that I do with whatever ingredients I got. Sometimes I make it with lots of lemon zest, but today I'm going to make it with some chopped apricots. So I know it sounds odd in a lemon cake, but it tastes delicious. So the ingredients you'll need for this are, you need a couple of cups of flour. I've got some tea here that's cooling down. I've got half a glass of yogurt, half a glass of sugar, poppy seeds, baking powder, icing sugar, 4 eggs, lemons as much as you like, because if you want it really zingy, you can put lots of zest in. And I'm also going to put in some chopped almonds, or you can use ground almonds as well. It changes the texture slightly, but it's delicious. And I'm using olive oil, but you can use butter if you like. First thing you need to do is just beat your eggs. So once you've beaten your eggs, put them into your big bowl like so. And then I'm going to add the sugar. I mean, some people always put the sugar with the oil and beat that and then put the eggs, but it's whatever you like. It's all going in the same, really. It's not like you're doing a meringue and it has to be precious about it. So I'm going to put the sugar in and beat that into the eggs so it mixes well. And I've used brown sugar, but you can use any sugar that you like. It's whatever you've got at home, really. It's quite a good cake for using things up with. And then to that, once I've beaten that, I'm going to add approximately half a glass of olive oil, which is around 75 millilitres. Oh, this one's got a funny, one of these shaky ones, so I've got to shake it out. So there you go. All right. It's not a poury one. Oh, it is pouring, there you go. So you can measure out between 50 and 75 millilitres of olive oil. If you're using butter, then same amount, but it's butter. Okay. And then just beat that in. And it goes a bit frothy like so. And then you add the rest of your ingredients. As I said, sometimes you can buy this really lovely kind of lemon zest that's in a sugar, but check that it's not glucose fructose sugar, because that's not good stuff. So if you can get the natural one, that's lovely. Otherwise, I'm putting in some chopped apricots. And the reason that these apricots look so brown is that they don't have sulfur in them for the preservative, because all the yellow ones you see have got sulfur in them and they can really upset your stomach. So try and avoid those and get these ones that are brown like that. You can just chuck that in. I'm going to also add the zest of a lemon. This is an organic unwaxed lemon, so it hasn't got any of that shiny stuff. That's why it looks so matte. Now, if you want, you can grate the zest in, so it makes it a slightly finer zest, but I'm too lazy to grate it, really. And I quite like these big bites of zinginess. You kind of get that bitter bite when you bite into the peel, and I like that flavour. So I'm going to just do it like so. Big chunks of zest in there, and you're going to need another lemon or a lemon and a lime for when you do the icing on top as well, the glaze. So that goes in. To that, I'm going to add 200 millilitres of sliced almonds, and all ground almonds, whichever you want. The sliced almonds give it a crunch, the ground almonds give it a density, so it's entirely up to you. That goes in like so, and then give it a good old stir. And I've got 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds, which I love the look of, and I like the flavour of, and I like the crunch they give. And all lemon cakes should have poppy seeds in them, according to me. So that goes in, like so. And now I'm going to put the flour in. So that's 2 cups of flour. I've got a mix of white and wholemeal flour, mainly because I'm using up my flours, but you can use whatever you like. Yes, you're supposed to sieve it in. Do I? No, I'm too lazy. So I'm just gently going to put it in like so and mix it. I mean, I do sometimes sieve it in, my flour into cakes, but a lot of the time I just can't be bothered, and it doesn't really make that much difference. I'm sure poor Hollywood and Prue Leaf would be abhorred by this, but I don't care. So just mix that in, and it makes quite a thick batter. So if it gets too thick to mix, that's when you should add your yogurt. So as I said, I've got a glass of yogurt here as well. And that's just going to loosen it up a little bit. Not forgetting to add baking powder. Oh no, that's the baking powder here. Tablespoon. Mix that in. And I said I've got a cold cup of tea here. This is Earl Grey tea, which again I'm going to use for liquid. You can use milk, you can use substitute milks like almond milk or oat milk, or you can use tea, or you can use juice. It's actually, in a lemon cake, it's quite nice to use orange juice, but as I said, I'm using tea, Earl Grey tea, to put in there. Put the rest of that in there. And just blend it so it all mixes and makes a lovely batter. And I've made a cup of tea. You might not need to use it all. So just, as they say in Greek, ososigosi, which is this really annoying saying that my mum used to say when I was cooking and trying to write down her recipes, is as much as it'll take. So if you're trying to write a precise recipe, it doesn't help at all, ososigosi, as much as it'll take. But it is a kind of case of as much as it'll take, because I've got a mix of wholemeal flour and white flour here. Wholemeal flour takes a little bit more liquid, so there's no point in me giving you finite instructions on this one. You've just got to see and make a loose batter. If you're using just white flour, you might not need as much tea to make it quite so loose, but this is quite a thick batter. You need to make sure that you mix it well. So kind of using nearly all of it. There we go. That's about it. So I would say that I've used, so this was a 200 milliliter cup, so I've left 100 in, so it's 250 this one, so it's 250, so I've used 150. And you want a lovely thickish batter. I'm going to show it to you in a moment how thick it is. So it kind of is that consistency. Not too loose, but not too thick. And then it's ready for its baking tin. So you can put this into a 2-pound baking tin, or you can make 2 cakes in 1-pound baking tins. I'm making 2 cakes, so I've got one to give away and one to keep. And you just literally pour the batter in. 2 3/4 of the way to the top. These are my 2 cakes. If it was a 2-pound tin, they would need an hour. I think these will need between 35 and 40 minutes, but keep an eye on them. So they're going to go into the oven 180. I'm going to have a look at them at 35 minutes. They might need another 5 minutes. So whilst they are baking, I'm going to make the syrup that's going to go on top, and it's really, really simple. And I choose to do it this way because it makes it easier. I've got one of these easy squeezy things, and I'm going to put the zest in here, like so. And I'm going to make lovely long twirls of zest. And I'm using lemon and lime because I like the contrast of the green and the yellow. As I said, unwaxed. If you can get unwaxed organic, that's the best ones to get. If you can't, then, and you can only get wax, then just give them a wash with some washing up liquid, actually, to try and get some of the wax off, and then dry them really well and rinse them really well. And that takes off some of the residual wax if you're using it in the way that I'm using it here. So I've got that. I've got don't forget the lemon from earlier. And I'm also going to put the zest of this lime in as well, just for a bit of contrast of colour. That's in there. And then I'm just going to squeeze the juice of all of these into that too. So once you've got all that all out, have a look to see if there's any pips. There's one tiny pip here, and I'm taking that out because I actually want to use the pulp as well, so I'm going to pour that into the juice because I just like the chunkiness of the pulp. That's going to go in like that. And then there are 2 ways you can make this syrup. If you want it to be a slightly denser syrup, you can heat it up and melt the sugar in. But if you want a lighter, more zingy kind of tart one, then just add the sugar to it. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of demerara sugar in here, and just make sure it gets diluted. And sometimes if you're having a bit of trouble diluting it, then you need to heat it slightly. And then I'm also going to add 2 heaped tablespoons of icing sugar in there as well. If you want, you can do it just with icing sugar and lemon juice. It makes it a thicker kind of little icing or syrup on top. But I like it like so. So that's ready to go. As soon as they come out of the oven, the cakes, I'm going to put these on top, and the heat is going to suck in the cold lemon juice and sugar and give it a lovely zing. I just checked my cakes. The other one needs another 5 minutes on a slightly lower heat. My oven is so temperamental. I don't know if yours will be as bad, but so just check the cakes. This one is perfect. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some piercing points in it like so. You don't have to do that, but I like to give a little avenue for the syrup to go down. So give that a good mix and literally pour that on top. And that just soaks in. It might look like it's overwhelming it because it all goes trickling down to the sides, but it's not. It's going to all suck in beautifully. So I'm going to put half of my kind of lemony syrup mixture on top of this cake, giving it a beautiful glaze all round. It will all sink in. And then I'm going to take some of the zest and just put it on top like so as well. And that'll kind of stick down when the sugar sinks in. And there you go. You just allow that to cool, and that is perfect with a cup of tea. It's even perfect with a gin and tonic on a sunny day.